I'd like to convene the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board here on May 7th. Would the secretary please call our roll?
Commissioner Alper.
Present.
Commissioner Menz.
Here.
Commissioner Musich.
Present.
Commissioner Olson.
Here.
Commissioner Rucker.
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Vice President Abeni.
Here.
President Forney.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. That action carries. I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action carries. We'll take a motion to approve the minutes from April 24th.
2024, I'll move those. So moved. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action carries as well. Okay, we're now reports for our appointees to outside boards, commissions, and committees. Do you have anything to report? Would you like to say something?
President Forney, thanks for recognizing me. Thank you for recognizing me, President Forney. I do want to make a quick statement before we just begin in response to a lot of the folks that are here today. But I want to make sure I address this, so if you just give me a moment. So Park Board staff and commissioners understand that there's considerable concerns relative to the extension of the lease with the Boys and Girls Club for the Southside Village Phelps Recreation Center. At the last board meeting, questions related to specific provisions of Amendment Number 2 were raised. Staff were not prepared to respond at that particular time. Since then, Recreation staff have been assembling information responsive to commissioner inquiries, but have yet to complete a full report. From what we know, the NPRB is providing 240 program hours for the center, and the Boys and Girls Club have identified time available beyond the 250 hours required in Amendment Number 2. The Park Board desires to have a strong presence in this building. Our staff have been working to make this happen, especially in more recent months. As consideration of the lease extension moves forward, there are adjustments that might be advanced in an updated Amendment Number 3. They will be discussed with the Administration and Finance Committee this evening. So I want to be clear that the Park Board's intention is to establish a greater presence at the Recreation Center at Phelps. And as superintendent, I commit to working with the Boys and Girls Club to adjust Amendment Number 3 to make that happen. Thank you, President Forney.
Certainly. Thank you for that report in. I don't see any other lights, so we will go on to our consent agenda. If somebody would like to move that as a slate.
I will move resolutions 2024-90, 2024-91, 2024-101, 102, and 103 as a slate.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those actions carry. Great. On then to our standing committee, Planning Committee.
Yes, thank you, President Forney. From the Planning Committee, I'd like to move Resolution 2024-75, a resolution amending the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board Community Engagement Policies Conflict of Interest definition.
Second.
Any questions? Any questions? Not seeing any lights. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action carries.
Next, from the Planning Committee, I'd like to move Resolution 2024-85, resolution granting temporary construction and permanent utility easements to the Metropolitan Council for dual force main sewer purposes in the mall.
Second.
Any questions on that postponement?
Your lights on.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes, I guess I'll just take a couple minutes and clarify what the attached amendment does in this resolution. There was two actions in the resolved clause. One is that it directs the staff to discuss the mall design with the city engineer and fire marshal to confirm that it creates no unforeseen public safety impacts, either on emergency vehicle access or traffic patterns. And secondly, it pauses the decision-making regarding the implementation of this piece of the master plan until we get this information. which basically would then help us make a more informed decision. This information was not available at the time of the CAC, and I think it would be helpful to the public and to us as commissioners to have that information. So, an affirmative vote on this resolution confirms that we will be charging the Met Council Environmental Services the appropriate temporary and permanent easement fees that are needed. We'll be expecting a public report from staff regarding their safety input from the fire marshal and city engineer. And then there would be some kind of future board vote around implementation of the master plan or some possible kind of master plan amendment. So I am supportive of passing the resolution with this amendment because I believe it brings us to a place of better process in this important decision. We all know that there have been public works projects in the past that have moved ahead without considering some of these public safety issues. And we as commissioners do not want to find ourselves in the same boat. So I will be supporting this, and I just wanted to clarify, this was not a blanket decision at this point, but a request for more information.
Oh, Commissioner Musich, sorry.
Thank you, President Forney. If staff wouldn't mind approaching the mic, I have a question on this. Is this item ready to be approved by the Board of Commissioners, or is there additional input needed from staff before we can move this forward at this time?
President Forney, Commissioner Musich, if I understand,
Your mic's not on.
President Forney, Commissioner Musich, if I understand the question, are you asking a question relative to the original motion or the amendment that's before this?
The motion as amended before the board at this time.
So we understand that there's more information that is being requested. We've been able to gather some of that information, but we haven't been able to gather all of it at this point.
So if we advance this item this evening, do you have the direction that you need, or do we need to further modify this based
President
on
Forney,
the information you're collecting at this time?
Thank you, President Forney, Commissioner Musich. The one piece of information that we would need to be able to advance the permanent and temporary easements is what we put back in the place where the construction's going on. I'd have to, if we were to, let me put it this way. In order for the Metropolitan Council to move forward in their project, they need to be able to put together documents and get bidders aware of what the direction will be for the restoration of the areas that have been disturbed. We don't have that direction at this point.
So if we approve this evening, we're approving something that doesn't allow you to move forward because you're lacking a key component of that data.
President Forney, Commissioner Musich, that's correct. That's correct. We don't have that piece of information.
Okay, so how do we get that to you? Do we need to be discussing in committee that component and further amending this resolution so that you have the guidance you need to be able to actually move forward?
President Forney, Commissioner Musich. Is your suggestion that it might be
I mean,
referred
I'm
back?
just asking, should we
Yeah.
be postponing this evening, or should we be voting on it, and then you're going to bring us additional
Okay.
action at a later date? That, because
Yeah.
it seems clear to me what we're being asked to approve tonight is not something that actually can be executed because it's missing pieces.
But President Forney, Commissioner Musich, that's right. There is, for us to execute the agreements necessary for Metropolitan Council, that final piece of information. And with that, we'd be able to determine, they'd be able to move forward with their project, and we'd be able to figure out like what we would be expecting. We're actually pretty close. We have been in discussions with the fire chief on this. We have some information that we're still to talk about with city engineering staff on the traffic side of things. But we do need more time to get those pieces completed.
Okay, how much more time do you need? Or if I were to make a motion to postpone this, what's the time duration that would be necessary to bring something that's fully baked back to the board?
President Forney, Commissioner Musich, if we had 2 weeks, we would be able to give you, I think, firm direction on what we would need to do to be able to move this forward.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to postpone this item then to May 23rd, which is, I believe, our next regularly scheduled board meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. see lights, but are they discussions to what the amendment would be here?
The motion to
Motion, thank you,
postpone,
right.
I don't believe it's a debatable motion.
Oh, thank you. So, therefore, we should be taking a vote on the motion that has been.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was
This
second.
is debatable. I'm looking, yeah, sorry. I'm looking at my cheat sheet. It is debatable.
Thank you, okay. So, to the action, Commissioner Schaefer, would you like to speak to that? Commissioner Bennett just first. Oh, okay, I saw. Okay, Vice President Abeni?
Yeah, thank you. I would just say that if you actually look at the amended resolution, the resolve clauses, all they say is go and speak to the fire marshal, go and speak with the city engineer, present the whole mall plan, not just this piece of it. And so that's actually already happening. So the staff is already doing that without final approval of this resolution. So that's why I don't want to postpone it. The other thing that the resolution, the resolve clause says is pause decision-making. That's it. So this doesn't stop anything, and they're actually frankly already carrying out the actions that are in this amended resolution.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes, I think this is, moving forward on this today is respectful of the work that Commissioner Benny and I put into this amendment. And it is, this is not a project that's happening even this fall. It looks like it's going to kick even to next spring. So if we give staff the 2 weeks to come back and share the report, at least we've got it confirmed with the Met Council that we are going to charge them easement fees. This agreement was worked out prior to the passing of our land policy. I think that is an important part of this resolution that I would like to see secured as well, from my perspective. And I think we are still going to have a piece unresolved, the piece that we need to tell them what to do after the project. But we have lots of time, so the fact that we don't know what to tell them yet is kind of immaterial to the stage that the project is at. So I would see that happening fairly quickly. I would not want this to be drawn out. Once we get that information from the staff, we would bring forward either one of two resolutions or maybe both for the board to vote on, an amended master plan or replacing the, or implementing the master plan. And it would be decided as soon as we could after we get that information.
Commissioner Alper?
Yeah, I'm a little troubled by the fact you just said amended master plan. I mean, I thought to amend a master plan, that requires, I've been told over and over, it's a great lift to change things. And I'm hesitant to go back and say that all of the work that was done previously, that we've built our whole foundation on, is somehow inadequate. You know, as I've sat up here on this dais for longer and longer, to, you know, at the whims of commissioners or at the whims of certain neighbors who come out of the woodwork at the last moment to make a drastic change, I'm very concerned about that. So I'm going to be voting to postpone.
Commissioner Mans?
Thank you, President Forney. I do not support the motion to postpone. I do think that it's good governance to continue on with the proposal or the resolution as amended. It does appear that it keeps the easement fees, and it allows us to make a decision later on whether or not we want to convert planned green space into something else. That's a different decision. This decision keeps us moving forward. It doesn't sound like, and maybe Assistant Superintendent Schroeder can clarify, that it prevents them from doing any further work or proceeding towards figuring out the answers that Commissioner Schaefer and many of us up here would like about public emergency safety. So I won't be supporting the postponement, and I will be supporting the resolution as amended.
Commissioner, excuse me, Commissioner Olson?
I mean, I don't exactly see how this is good governance, as we were just told by staff who have been working very intimately on this, that they're missing key information to move forward and make appropriate decisions on this matter. And by moving forward with this amendment, it's kind of setting us on a path that we are not clear on what that direction leads and the various implications on it. I would say the same point that Commissioner Schaefer made, that it is potentially not coming up till next spring, should be a reason to vote for the postponement, because we're not in a rush to pass this amendment. It's a little hasty. We've rarely had any time to mull it over or to discuss it, or and we've heard from staff that it's insufficient. And typically, we have, as a board, erred on the side of the expertise of our staff and the expertise of the plans that we have worked very hard to develop. It's okay to wait 2 weeks. We very well might end up on the same place. We're in no rush to move this forward. Let's just make sure we have all our ducks in the row, and that if we're doing something that could potentially make some drastic changes, that we're doing it right. So let's just wait a couple weeks. It's not that hard.
Commissioner Alper for a second time.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing me for a second time. I just realized I had asked staff, since I was absent at the last meeting where this was discussed, what the budget impact of this amendment is, and I never heard back. Can anybody speak to that? Because I'm frankly concerned about the fact that we're requiring staff to put forth, when they put forth resolutions to show that budget impact, but there was no budget impact associated with this. But I'm delaying projects typically has a budget impact.
President Forney, Commissioner Alper, we haven't talked about it in terms of what the dollar impact is. We've looked at it more in terms of what the project impact is. If we look at this from the perspective of having to kind of reassess a master planning process, we're definitely putting projects behind schedule that would otherwise be moving forward. And right now, we have a list of what those potential projects might be, but we haven't defined what it might be. A master plan amendment, to do it with the kind of rigor of community engagement that we typically follow, would take us at least 6 months, probably longer, which is going to impact several projects.
Okay, it would impact projects, but what are we talking here? 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 of this amendment?
President Forney, Commissioner Alper, the master plan amendment would probably be a $50,000 effort. And when we look at engaging a consultant to help with some of the reimagining that would be necessary, and assigning staff to it. But I think it's important that there's also a recognition that we would have to be delaying other projects.
Great, thanks. I mean, I want to make sure my colleagues know that I have had my feet held to the fire for budget impacts of $2,000. 50,000 is a magnitude of difference from 2,000. So I think what's the rush? Let's vote on this in 2 weeks when we have more information. Thanks.
Vice President Abeni. Second time.
Yep, thank you. I just want to also clarify, again, I'll state it again, the added resolve clauses, all they do is direct, and that's the amended resolution, direct the staff to present and discuss the mall's entire master plan design with the Minneapolis City Engineer and Minneapolis Fire Marshal to get expert confirmation that this plan creates no public safety impacts for emergency access or neighborhood traffic patterns. And then just to pause decision-making essentially on the restoration or the restoration of the space that's going to be disrupted by the Met Council utility project. So this is already occurring. So by pushing this forward, it doesn't mean we're going to do anything. It doesn't mean we're going to amend a master plan. But if we have an unsafe condition on this unique space where it's a park, sure, but it's really a very unique one. It's the roadway, the only roadway adjacent to multi-story old buildings. So we want to be sure we're proceeding with caution.
And I believe, Commissioner Schaefer, you're for a third time. I think this action, okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I want to be
I
clear. Oh, Commissioner Musich, I'm sorry.
Schaefer has the floor already.
if I didn't use all my time, I'll just briefly say that I think, I really think that doing this shows the community where we did not have this information given during the CAC. It shows in a formal written way that we do want to make sure that it is good governance to find out about the traffic patterns and safety of the emergency vehicles, and no monetary number should be, anyway, I think we should just move this forward as it is, and hopefully that will show the community we are respectful in good process in trying to think about all issues here.
Commissioner Musich?
Thank you, President Forney. I just wanted to clarify the date. I had said the 23rd, but our meeting is actually the 22nd. So the motion before the body that we're about to vote on is postponing Resolution 2024-85 to May 22nd.
Commissioner Olson for a second time?
Just one question for staff. Michael, I think you might be the one. So the question kind of that is open is what to do afterwards, after the project. And we've heard that potentially from some of our commissioners that it's okay and we can do the amendment and we'll be able to figure that portion out later. We've heard from staff that it'd be important to determine that now. I'm wondering historically what is typically done if I assume this isn't the first time we've had MCES work on something or a group like it. What is kind of the default in this sort of situation to align it typically with a master plan?
President Forney, Commissioner Olson, if I understand your question correctly, it's about when we have a partner entity doing work on parkland, what is the direction that we provide to them in terms of what they're returning the parkland to? The typical guidance we provide is to follow the master plan. As they're restoring whatever it might be, and there are probably several examples, and I think maybe Director Arvidsson could help me identify some of those if we needed to. But the direction we typically provide is to move in the direction of the master plan.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mans for a second time?
I'll wait.
Okay. If I'm hearing staff correctly, MCES needs to have clarification. And by postponing this, we would be able to give them clarification. And that's the reason why I would be supporting this, is because staff has asked for the ability to get the answers to these questions, which is what the community is asking for. So they're saying we would know within 2 weeks. So that's, to me, I'm supporting the postponement. So to the action of postponement, I think maybe I should ask for a roll call. Secretary, if you please call a roll.
Commissioner Elper.
Aye.
Commissioner Menz.
No.
Commissioner Musich.
Aye.
Commissioner Olson.
Aye.
Commissioner Rucker.
No.
Commissioner Schaefer.
No.
Commissioner Thompson.
No.
Vice President Abeni.
No.
President Forney.
Aye.
You have 4 ayes, 5 nays.
So the postponement does not pass. So on then to the amended resolution. Any discussion to that item? Yes, Commissioner Menz.
Can I ask staff to come up again really quick? Because I want a clarification on what President Forney just said. Does voting for this resolution with the amendment, prevent action that's asking coming forward?
President Forney, Commissioner Menz, can you?
I can't remember what President Forney said exactly, but she made the insinuation that by passing the not postponing, that passing that resolution was going to prevent you all from continuing this work to figure out if this is a safety hazard for emergency vehicles moving forward. Is there any delay to your work based on if we pass this resolution?
President Forney, Commissioner Menz, we're already in process on that work. I don't imagine this to be a delay. We'll just continue to do what we've been doing in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Also, to my colleagues, I really appreciated that discussion. I think that was a really nice back and forth. And in response to Commissioner Alper, who I agree with you that the master planning process seems to be something that we don't have the ability to change, but I believe that we do have the ability to change it. There are master plans that we can and should change at times. They should be rare and in certain circumstances, but we also need to go through that process of not changing or changing something based on the response of the community, even if it is a small sector. We need to be able to understand how to go through that process to either reject it or accept it. Because there are times when master plans need to be changed at a later date. That doesn't mean that I support this particular master plan proposal that could possibly come forward, but I do think that the master planning process does need to have a process for us commissioners to figure out how we can amend it when it's necessary in the acute time period. That's what we're elected to do.
Not seeing any other lights. Will we need a roll call for this anyway? It's probably wise,
Let's do that.
since it's a temporary easement. Please call, Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Alper,
No.
Commissioner Menz,
Pass.
Commissioner Musich,
Aye.
Commissioner Olson,
No.
Commissioner Rucker,
No.
Commissioner Schaefer,
I'm sorry. Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Vice President Abeni,
Aye.
Commissioner Menz,
Aye.
Secretary,
President Forney.
I need to change my vote to yes. Sorry about that.
Commissioner Rucker's vote has been changed from a nay to an aye. President Forney,
Aye.
you have 7 ayes, 2 nays.
That action carries, and see now, we are not doing the next one,
But-
and it seems to me we are.
I have one
Oh,
more-
no, we
one
do have
more?
one more,
Yep.
sorry. Wrote all over mine.
Finally, from the Planning Committee, I'd like to move Resolution 2024-86, resolution approving temporary occupancy under Section 4F of the Transportation Act of 1966 for the Metro Transit F-Line Bus Rapid Transit Project adjacent to and within St. Anthony Parkway and Columbia Golf Course.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Not seeing any lights. I believe, should we do roll call on this as well? Okay. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Alper,
Aye.
Commissioner Menz,
Aye.
Commissioner Musich,
Aye.
Commissioner Olson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rucker,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Vice President Abeni,
Aye.
President Forney.
Aye.
You have 9 ayes.
That action carries, and that brings us just about in time for our open time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read our open time rules. Thanks to all of you who want to share your thoughts and ideas with us during open time. Before we start, I want to provide an abbreviated version of the open time board rules. All individuals wishing to speak may call in before noon the day of the meeting to be placed on the agenda, or can sign up at the board meeting prior to the start of open time. I will be calling on people only on the sign-up list. Open time for public input shall not exceed the total of 15 minutes, with the time limit to be allocated by myself, the president. Please watch the timer up here to be considerate of others here to speak and stay within your allotted time. During open time, public testimony will be given without a debate, and only clarifying questions from the board will be allowed. 2 types of items not appropriate for open time in order to protect the privacy of all individuals are pending litigation and personnel issues. So please refrain from commenting on specific personnel issues. We will not tolerate discriminatory and/or harassing words directed at anyone. So please ensure that all comments you make tonight comply with the policy. This board made the decision many years ago to operate under Robert's Rules of Order. Under Robert's Rules of Order, the ceding of time to another person is not allowed. So only those signed up to speak may only speak for their own allotted amount of time. We also request that each speaker provide his or her name and address. And we will get the sign-up list here in a moment, but if you'll all be patient, we will have that and commence on our open time. So, sorry for all of you being here. I'm a minute off. So patient. Yeah. Otherwise, I think we're at the end of the meeting, aren't we? So it's petitions and communications. Yep, it's 5:30. So we're just waiting on a staff person to bring us that list. So everybody will be patient. We will wait on that to come. Up, there it is. Okay, so far we have 28 people. So I want to be respectful of all of you, and being that fortunately we're at the end of our full board agenda, I'm going to allow 1 minute for each person. So I know that kind of shortchanges you, but anyway, the first person is Anu Francis, and then after that is Mitch. So if Anu is here. Oh, great.
So my name is Anu Francis.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Did you say you wanted my address? I live in North Minneapolis. I'm here to address the vote for if you're going to renew the lease for the Boys and Girls Club. And I am here just to kind of speak on the impact that it's had in my family and my children's lives. And it came up because my son came home and said that the park board is kicking us out of Phelps, and he said, why would they want to do that? And when he said that, I kind of thought about it, and I said, well, I guess it's maybe because they don't really know us, and they don't really know the really amazing positive things that are going on there, and so I want to tell you about some of them. And I want to, he attends Ella Baker Elementary, and after school, he goes to the boys. Am I done? That was a minute?
I'm so sorry, everyone. Right.
I didn't
And-
know.
And just for you all to know and everything, we've got another 8 people, so we've got over 35 people. So I'm sorry to make it brief for everyone. But, anyway, Mitch, you're next, and then Jim Halber.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Mitch Rosso. I'm here to speak about the mall park. A couple of things that I mentioned it before, but this weekend, Sunday, it was a really nice day in Uptown, and the entire neighborhood was full of parked cars because people use the lakes and they park on the mall park for that. It's not just the residents. There was a public hearing 4 or 5 years ago about the plan for all the parks in the neighborhood, and discussion was about putting a volleyball field in that on our block right there in the mall, and that's why they were taking the road out. The volleyball court has been removed from the plan, but now the road is still being removed. There's no real reason that I can see to remove a road if you're not putting in a volleyball field for that. I don't want the volleyball field. I want the road to stay there. It's a critical part of how that neighborhood works. And I thought that was over with. I didn't think we were going to see that done. And then the postcard showed up last fall and referred to it as restored turf grass. That was very confusing. No one knew that meant you were taking the road away. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jim, and then next is Gary S.
I'm James Halber, President of the Phelps Activities Council, here with some of our board members and one of our Phelps, where'd you go? Some of our Phelps kids. We began serving Phelps community under the former park director and Commissioner Cal Severson 16 years ago. At the time, the Southside Village Boys and Girls Club was also on site at Phelps Park with a lease. 2008, Park Board removed the Phelps Park director from the Phelps site, and the Phelps Activities Council volunteer base remained, coordinating youth sports and activities in Phelps for the Falcons. And we just completed our 16th year. We contribute over 10,000 volunteer hours annually at Phelps Park, serving over 300 underserved and most at-risk youth, K through 18, primarily in RBI baseball, park and rec, basketball, track, NFL flag, tackle football. We're also working to raise funds to resurface Phelps Park field we're at about 750,000 of 1.8 million. We are 100% in favor of the Boys and Girls Club getting their lease renewed. They're a vital part.
Gary is next, and then after that is Mark Slough.
My name is Gary Spears, and I live on 44th and Minnehaha Avenue. I've grown up in the area where the Sibley Park is. And Sibley Park in our family was involved with the Dakota 38 hanging, which was on my mom's side of the family, how we got removed to South Dakota. This is why I wanted to be, I've been working on this for the past 29 months to get it Chante Tiza Wian, which is Strong-Hearted Women. And I was trying to get that changed over. And a lot of other names that have came out in the past time are inanimate objects. I believe the people, the Dakota people, have a right to be put in the history and why we got removed Sibley. At this present time, we have over 80-some signatures. A lot of people from the major parts of the Dakota community have signed it already. I believe it's fair for their voices to matter in this signatures gathering of the people I've been for the past 29 months. Right now, Carrie Day Aspinwall has this committee that nobody knows about and what they're meeting about at this time. I kind of disagree until we have better choices figuring out what's going to happen with what's going to happen. I feel like this is a fair way we've been going the past 29 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, and then Mindy Slough.
Hi, Mark Slough, East Isles neighborhood. I'm here to support the preservation of the mall park. We now have over 700 signatures on a petition, online petition, from your constituents who would also like to see it preserved. We believe that it would be foolish to remove the well-used and highly valued roads and parking that have been there for over 100 years. Please don't make the mistake of removing the valuable infrastructure. How much would it cost to replace the roads and parking when you figure out it was a mistake to take it out? Thank you.
Mindy, and then after that is Emily Peterson. Is Mindy here? Okay.
Hi, I'm Mindy, and I'm here for the mall park as well, East Isles resident. And I'm just gonna reiterate again, thanks for working with us, the community. We really, I think, know the neighborhood, and we are really pushing for saving safety, saving what's needed in our neighborhood. So we really appreciate it if you would work with us and hear us. And everything changes, and I appreciate your ability to change when it's time to change. So, thank you.
Thank you, Emily. And then after that is
Hello, my name is Emily, and I live at James Avenue. Like many of my neighbors, I'm here to voice serious concerns about the plan to upheave the mall park. The proposed changes, while admirable, they lack critical overlook of aspects. The parking on the mall is used by residents, but it's also used by visitors and enjoyers of the park, of the lakes. And by restricting that access, we'll be creating unnecessary tension and potential safety and traffic hazards of which we do not know. The people who live here, the people who come out of the woodwork when we realize that we'll be directly impacted, are also park lovers. This is our backyard, and we'd love to make the park better, but this doesn't seem like the plan to do that at this time. I urge you to reassess and to ensure the efforts truly serve all community members and prioritize safety for those accessing our green spaces, the lakes, and effectively our homes. Thank you.
Kimberly Rasmussen, Lona Helm. I believe that's right.
Did you say Kimberly?
Excuse me? I said Kimberly Rasmussen. And then after that is Lona Helm.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm here in support of the Boys and Girls Renewal. I just wanted to let you know how important it has been to me and my family. It is one of the most complete programs that I have ever seen, covering everything from social, emotional, to financial, to health. They feed the kids when they're there. They help them with their homework. They work to develop how to get along with each other, and they don't care about race, they don't care about age, they don't care that two of my kids are special needs, and they still treat them the same as the rest of the kids, and I can't say how much that means to me. And also, just how much the Boys and Girls Club has served me and my family. Not only that, my children have had opportunity to serve. My daughter is part of the mentoring program, and she's got 2 kids under her that she reads with and helps them with their math. So thank you, and I hope you can renew.
Lona is next, and then after that is Cynthia Francis, and I just want you to know this, we're just a quarter of the way through, so go for it.
All right, thank you, commissioners, for all you do. This is about the Mall Park. The Mall Park is for everyone. In fact, the second largest attended event in Minnesota is held on the mall most summers. But it holds a special place for us East Isles residents. I walk the mall almost daily to transit to various places in Uptown. I also enjoy the mall for its peaceful green space and a chance to spend time outdoors. The beautiful tulip beds were an East Isles initiative, which we spent our time and money on. It is important to listen to the voices of the park that is in our neighborhood. It would make the most sense, and I imagine most cost-effective, if we kept a similar design after the sewer project is complete. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Cynthia. And I really appreciate everybody and your enthusiasm. If you could maybe go this way instead, because really, we've got to get through an awful lot. So Cynthia Francis, and then after that is Larry Burgess.
Yes, my name is Cynthia Francis, and I am from North Minneapolis. And the reason why I'm here is because we need a youth program designed to keep our young people off the streets, off the corners. And so we're asking for funding to help us develop programs for our young youth and keep them out of trouble. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry Burgess, and then, once again, please, really, I love your enthusiasm, but Larry, and then Kristen McDougall, I think, if I got that right. Larry, please.
Absolutely. Hey, how you doing? My name is Larry Burgess. I currently have 2 positions. I'm with Minneapolis Public Schools in OBSA, and also I work with this program called Next Step, where we assist survivors of violent crimes. I do believe that if the park board would include programming within the parks, I do believe we will be able to curb a lot of the violence that is going on in the city. At the schools, me and a coworker of mine will be sharing stories about how the parks benefited our life coming up. And they asked, how were you all able to do that when there's a highs and lows? There was no such thing as a highs and lows because we were integrated with each other. Kids from the lows were playing at Farview and Farview vice versa at North Commons. So adding programs will prevent the younger ones that are coming up now from doing the negative things that they're seeing their older siblings, cousins, or whatever's going on in the streets that will prevent them and give them something positive to do.
Thank you, Larry. Kirsten, please. Kirsten, and then I'm sorry, but Ibori, I'm sorry, McMillan. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. Kirsten?
Kristen McDougall, 2847 James Avenue South, speaking to the Mall Park. First of all, I want to reiterate that it's not a whim of the neighbors. We've been fighting this since day one, and overwhelming opposition, but the planning has continued to go forward. I have a couple of concerns about safety. One is removing the road on the north side of the park between Irving and Bidet-Makaska Boulevard, and at the same time moving the pedestrian walkway to the south edge of the park, may be inviting danger. I wonder about creating such a large passive urban space in the form of turf and forested area. Perhaps it's too passive. Without pedestrian activity and cars passing, it could easily have people loitering both day and night, as well as sleeping in the forest. The other safety concern is regarding the removal of the small strip of the north side of the west end of the park, as it might be difficult for emergency vehicles, and I thank
If you have any written comments and everything, you can please pass them to our secretary here.
I sent mine in to
Okay.
everybody last night.
Thank you so much. I believe, once again, it's Ibori, and then Cynthia Berger.
Ebony?
Maybe that's it. I really
Okay.
apologize.
That's okay. Yes, hi, I'm Ebony McMillan. I'm a stakeholder in Minneapolis, and so I am here with my self-interest in youth programming. I'm a parent of multiple children. I'm a single parent now, and we don't have access in Brooklyn Center to as many programs as like the children back here. I feel that it would be beneficial to put some funding towards some of the parks, light them up, maybe like over North Minneapolis, make them more inviting for families. You know, parents have to work, so we want to feel like our children are safe and that they feel safe going to and from the programs. I really want to touch on more, but I really think to see more of this, you do have to invest in your future with money. Money is on the table. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ebony.
Have a good one.
Cynthia, and then Mike Forcia. Is Cynthia Berger here?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then Mike after that.
Sorry. Hi, I'm here for support of the Southside Boys and Girls Club. And as a single parent, we didn't qualify for any resources. It was really important that the resource was there for after school for my son, because it allowed me to continue to be employed and purchase a home in the community. Now, 2 years ago, my grandson died of fentanyl, and all the 4 kids came to live with me, and I didn't have any resources. And thanks to Mark and Tony, they made every effort to support my family so my 4 grandkids could live with me. So I'm just here begging you guys, please renew the lease. It's a pillar, it's a staple in the community, and a lot of us need that resource. And that's all I have to say. Sorry.
Mike, and then after that is Carmen Means.
My name is Mike Forsha. I'm chairman of the American
Mike,
Indian
if
Movement.
you'd speak into the microphone.
My name is Mike Forsha. I'm chairman of the American Indian Movement here in Minneapolis. And I support the Boys and Girls Club and what you guys need, 100%. I'm here with my brother Gary Spears, working on Sibley Park. That man is a monster. What he did to the Dakota people, he should never have his name anywhere in this state. It needs to be changed. It needs to be decided by the Dakota people, not you, or you. By the Dakota people, only Dakota, and especially not by these people. This name has to be changed. And what we're demanding is every single park in the park system have a double name. The name it has now and a Dakota name. We're not stopping. We are coming after you. We want East Phillips Park to put 100 tiny homes to eliminate our homelessness, and these people aren't listening. They don't care about your time. They're giving you 1 minute to speak, and their time is more important than yours, obviously. Because I know I would sit here and listen to you for 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you so very much.
Carmen, and then after that is Ramia Ali.
Yes, good evening. My name is Carmen Lewis, actually. I am the executive director of Central and Bryan neighborhood in South Minneapolis, right off of 38th. I'm in Chicago. I want to speak of the possible detachment and disconnection between the Minneapolis Park Board and the Minneapolis Park and Rec. Number one, I want to, first of all, ask that you all, as much as possible, would give us full transparency. We understand this is a political matter, so there's things that's happening, meetings already happening we're not disclosed of. So I hate to have to give comments in the midst of having ignorance that's willfully given from your part, so we don't even know how to fight and how to battle. But with the information that I have, this is what I say. That there was a financial backing back in 2011 by the Bryan neighborhood of $500,000 to help keep that thing going. Also, as being a frontline person of the activism of the GFS Square and what happened during the murder of George Floyd, that community needs a chance not to always have to be resilient, because we have to fight through trauma of grief and loss. The displacement of the Boys and Girls Club, our community would deeply, deeply feel that trauma, would deeply feel that pain. Our people eat from that. But why is it that we constantly have to be resilient? Why can't we rest and enjoy the fruits of our labor? The last thing is, how can we move forward together? And this is personal. Do not make this part of you all's personal agenda, putting us at another place of losing something which we cannot afford to be lost. And last but not least, let's not forget about the historical context that this is also part of the 1952 Tinsel built homes that was built with 28 homes, which is the first place in Minneapolis that there was an interracial development. Please honor our request. Don't move anything. Give us the proper funding. You got the money. Let's make it happen.
Once again, if you have any printed comments and everything, you can leave them with our secretary here, please, Ramia, and then Yusuf Omar is next.
Hello, my name is Ramia Ali. I am here today representing the SMAC Vista tenant organizers. We are supporting the development of a community survey centering Phillips Park. The responses demonstrated how deeply cherished Phillips is by our organizations, our neighborhood. It's also demonstrated that many of our community needs has been neglected. Some takeaway we would like to share with you. Over 50% of our responses ranked their visits with the Phillips Park building as 1 or 2 out of the 5 before Boys and Girls Club started soliciting responses. That this was at 80%. It's clear that our community served by the Boys and Girls Club love it, while those who are not centered experience the park quite differently. Over 60% of our neighbors experience barriers when attempting to access the restrooms or building, and over 50% of our neighbors are not clear how to contact park staff. We want to make a better maintained park and accessible to those who have a mobile issue, a park that is accessible to all of our community. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yusuf is next, and then Philip Gray.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Yusuf Omar, and I have lived in South Minneapolis for a long time. For many years, I worked as a youth mentor and educator. I'm happy today to be part of youth investment campaign led by Muslim Coalition and BBCC. Thank you for letting us speak. Every day, I see kids in my neighborhood getting off the bus with a lot of time to spare before their parents come home. One simple thing we can do is to keep our park programs open longer and offer engaging fun activities. This will give these kids a safe place to keep them busy with the fun engagement and culturally appropriate activities led by positive role models in their community. This will really make a difference in their lives. Investing in our young people is essential. They are, after all, the backbone of tomorrow's economy. A concrete measure we can take is to find internship programs within our parks. These programs could focus on environmental sciences and business management, preparing our youth for future employment while fostering a strong sense of responsibility and commitment to community service so that we can avoid them from school to prison pipeline. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Philip Gray is next, and just for you all to know, we're just halfway through. After that, then, is Jonathan Adane, I believe. Is Philip Gray here?
Me.
Oh, yay.
Are you up here with me? Cool. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good evening, commissioners, superintendent. My name is Philip Gray. The Lorax had something, or Dr. Seuss had something called the Lorax. It spoke for the trees. Tonight, I'm here to speak for the kids. There are a few beacons of light in this sometimes dark world. The show of support here today, of all these people here today, is an indication of all the great work that's being done at this location. Rather than try to halt an agreement with the park board through the Boys and Girls Club, the park board should actually be trying to duplicate what's happening at this place as many places as they can. The care and love shown by this staff is immeasurable. Their magnanimous efforts go above and beyond and should be rewarded. Let's do the right thing, renew their lease. You may not be able to do it tonight, you may not be able to do it tomorrow, but it needs to be done. It's the right thing to do for the kids.
Next is Jonathan, and after that is Philip Crawford.
My name is Jonathan Adunde, and I'm in support of the lease renewal agreement between the Boys and the Girls Club and the park. I think in that community, we went through enough racial trauma. We've been through enough things to rob a community center of its resources for no reason it's not what I would think I was getting when I voted, and for everybody, for the the things you guys promised, where people promised the black community. I didn't expect to lose a pillar of the community for no reason. So I say from the bottom of my heart, please do the right thing. That's it.
Philip, and then after that is Lane Brown.
Good evening. My name's Philip Crawford. I've lived one block from Phelps Park for 65 years. I've seen before the Boys and Girls Club came, and I see it now. And I see what a big change it's made. And our children need that Boys and Girls Club right where it is. I see the programming that's going on. Our kids, our grandkids, and if it was taken away, it would leave such a huge hole in our community that we need. As you can see, all the support that came out today, and I just ask that you renew their lease. Thank you.
Lane, and then after that is Carmen Lewis.
Good evening. My name is Lane Brown, and I'm the program director for Plant Grow Share. We serve the Central and Bryant neighborhoods of South Minneapolis, including Phelps Park. Right across the street from Phelps Park is our community garden, where we serve dozens, if not hundreds of people throughout the summer with fresh food. We had the opportunity to collaborate with your staff on what we called Can You Dig It?, where we brought environmental organizing and mud pies and planting seeds and tasting food to the community. And one of the things that we heard repeatedly is, why doesn't this park look like other parks? Where are the park staff? Where are the resources? Where is the Zumba? Our parks need more investment than what is being offered. Our community deserves more. We can assist you with relationship maintenance or development if you need it, because it seems like y'all do. We deserve better and more. We deserve so much better. Thank you.
Carmen, and then Ramia Ali. Please. Who did? Carmen? Yes. Oh, Carmen's already been in Ramia? Yes, okay. Okay, then I think it's Farah? Abduli? Okay, thank you. I apologize.
Good evening. My name is Abdullahi Farah. I am one of the lead organizers of the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Alongside with the Black Barbershop Congregation Cooperative, BBCC, we've been listening to our communities and recognizing that youth investment is a high priority. We created and now are deeply committed in a campaign called Youth Investment Campaign to raise the voices of our youth, ensuring that our community's youth receive the necessary support and resources at our public parks. We're actively collaborating with community leaders to prioritize our youth's needs, to make sure that there is no communication gap, and to make sure we uplift the quality programs in our communities. We seek to forge a strong partnership with the board here and any organization focused on youth programs to ensure no youth is left behind. Many of our community leaders and youth workers are present today here. Some have testified already, emphasizing our commitment to bridging communication gap between our communities. We recently found out about the teen jobs, that there are 200 jobs, but none of our community members knew about it. So now there was only 2 weeks left, and so now we're trying to get as many people to know about this. So we want to partner beforehand so that we can make sure that if there are any opportunities for our youth, that the gap is closed and that all our youth get the opportunities they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mohammed Peters, and then Chow, I believe it's Jackson.
My name is Mohammed Peters. I grew up in Cedar Riverside my entire life. I've seen the worst to the best, and we need these opportunities for these youth. I wasn't given the opportunity that the youth right now that's alive and that I seen growth from their worst to their best, and I'm just asking you to support the youth. The youth is the future. These kids, these kids are their intelligence is beyond amazing, and I'm begging you if give your whole entire trust and opportunities to these kids. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Chow, and then after Brett is Brian, I think it's Tolman. Is Chad, oh, I'm sorry. Jackson, Chad Jackson. Okay, Brian, and then after that is Xenia Neal, and we're getting on the last page, gang.
How you all doing? My name is Brian Foreman. How you doing, Commissioner Vance? I am the director for the Social Justice Ministry of High Praise Ministries in the heart of North Minneapolis. I also direct the work for the Barbershop and the Black Congregation Cooperative, BBCC, in partnership with MCI, that's the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. And like my colleague had previously said, and so many in this room, we did listening sessions. We wanted to hear what the community was talking about, and they wanted more investment in youth. And as you can see, it's obvious, that's what we all want. And so I want you all, please, to take a look. We're not here to actually oppose you. We want to build relationships to bring resolutions. One of the things that we've seen is not that it's just a extreme shortage of programs, but the community engagement is not comprehensive. We have to be able to go out, saturate our neighborhoods, and lift up the wonderful work that's being done in the parks. And we need more programming that is legible to community. So I beg you all, let's partner, let's organize, because we ain't gonna do nothing but grow you all. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Next is Xenia.
Chad, otherwise known as Chow.
I'm
Jackson.
sorry. Sorry, Chad.
I will jump in here real quick. Chad Jackson, former Minneapolis resident. Now I live in New Brighton, but most importantly, a former club kid via Tampa, Florida. But once a club kid, always a club kid. And now I serve as board chair for the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Twin Cities. I want to be respectful of y'all's time. I want to turn around and actually face the crowd. This is beautiful, and I didn't want to get up because I'm struggling, but this is why I'm here. And I want to defer to the folks that took time out of their day to come here. The biggest thing I can just leave with you all is there's a lot of other stuff going on in the world right now in our community. Let's figure this out together, and let's do the right thing. You've got doctors, you got lawyers, you got teachers, all these beautiful children, the next wave. You've got club alums that are now serving in this community as presidents of companies, vice presidents, they're leading organizations. Let's keep the legacy going together. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Xenia, then after that is Tommy McBrier. Right, sorry.
McBrayer. Hey, Tommy. Hi, my name is Xenia. I am currently a resident of Bloomington, but I'm a club kid. I grew up in the club from the time I was 7, and I'm 34, okay? All my mom's kids, she sent us all to the Boys and Girls Club. They fed us, they nurtured us, they loved us. I get that there's no community access because that is a secure building for a reason, okay? Those kids need to feel safe. Period. And it's important that they keep their space. I'm from Jack Cornelius. It was torn down years ago. So I'm here for Southside Village, for Mark, Tony, and all these babies. I respect your time. Votes to keep Southside Village.
So Tommy's next, and then Abby McMiller, I think that's it. McMill?
How you doing? My name is Tommy McBrayer, and I'm the founder and CEO of Don't Shoot Gun Shoot Hoops, and I've experienced being a community organizer for Central Neighborhood. I joined the Boys and Girls Club at 10 years old, dealing with the same guys that was the staff at when I was 10 years old. Mark right here is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. It's almost heart-filling to hear about taking away something that a neighborhood really hasn't given anything to it. This neighborhood hasn't achieved anything from George Floyd. Matter of fact, George Floyd is the worst thing that happened to a central neighborhood, in Bryan neighborhood. To take away resources and take away hope from kids that are looking for a solution, I thought Park and Rec was the huge solution in my life of keeping me from gang banging or keeping me indoors from at least 8 hours to 10 hours a day, where I got a nice plate of food and I got some nice well-being people, because I live in the ghetto, and the ghetto ain't got a lot of nice parents that live righteous lifestyles, you know. So I say let's extend the lease. The Boys and Girls Club is saving lives, and if you don't have another solution to save lives, why are we closing it? There you go.
So Abby is next, and then after that is Jennifer Weber.
Greetings, my name is Abby McMillan, and this is my daughter Asaya. I am speaking optimistically on the renewal of the lease of the Southside Boys and Girls Club. I am the dean of the students at Hiawatha Academies on the south side of Minneapolis, and I'm a parent of a child who attends the club. I am speaking on behalf of the parents and the youth. This organization brings so much goodness to our children. In this day and age, it's hard to find high-quality programs that everyday families can access. The Boys and Girls Club is a gem that should be treated and cherished and uplifted. Our children have a safe place to go. They have academic enrichment programs that are assisting children outside of the school day, partnerships that provide wonderful experiences in our community, a family away from home, teaching our children how to take care of one another. To take this away would hurt our community, and you should all be in the business of building up our community and partnering with us and raising the next generation in valuing and all the wonderful things that are slowing down and disappearing within this current day and age, not tearing it down. I urge you to renew the lease. Thank you for your time.
Jennifer Weber, and then Faria Boudou. Is Jennifer here? Oh, coming forward. Gang, we have, 5 more people. So thank you for sticking with us.
I'm Jennifer Weber, or Coach Weber from Cedar Riverside neighborhood, and I've been asked to come here to speak about summer is around the corner, and our youth are often blamed for lots of things in the media. They get the blame for a lot of things. And we just had our youth summit this last Thursday. Our youth voted in 9 new leaders that are gonna do the same job that you're up there doing right now. And they wanna speak to you. They want a meeting with you to discuss jobs, opportunity, education, opportunity to be able to do what every other park resident does in your parks across the city. Cedar Riverside should no longer be left out. It should be seen as a bustling, joyful, beautiful community, and our youth are there, and they're gonna make that happen with or without you. So please get on board with them, schedule a meeting with them to be able to sit down and visit about what can come next. Thank you.
Thank you. For Haria, and then I think it's Kamarsis. Mohammed, excuse me.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. As a passionate advocate for substance use prevention and recovery, I come before you to stress the urgent need for expanded programs targeting our youth within our communities, parks, and recreational facilities. As many people said, I am also compelled to express my concern regarding the Park Board's current engagement strategies. It is evident that the outreach and communication efforts are falling short of effectively involving community voices, especially those from underserved groups. To truly serve and reflect the community's diverse needs, I urge the Park Board to reevaluate and enhance their engagement practices. Our parks are vital to our community's health and happiness and unity. They deserve an engagement strategy that fits their needs. Our city's parks are more than just green spaces. They are vital hubs where our young people gather. However, without the right support structure, these spaces can become areas where substance use begins and escalates. We need to act proactively by implementing comprehensive prevention programs that not only educate, but also engage our youth in meaningful activities. Thank you.
Next is, I'm sorry, Gamasli Mohammed, and then after that is Mustafa. I'm sorry for
Hi, thank you.
pronunciation.
It's Gamachisa Mohammed.
Thank you.
I just want to give everybody a round of applause. I'd love to see this here, the change that everyone's here to make. Please give yourself a round of applause. I think it's so amazing. Especially to see the youth here. Awesome. I have a youth testimonial. Good evening. My name is Gamachis, like I already stated. I'm a young person who has benefited from NIA recovery support meetings. Thanks to everyone here for letting me speak today. NIA helped me find a new direction away from drugs and find my spirituality. Through this program, I see what having a good mentor can do. Every young person deserves that. We need more programs and outlets at parks and in communities that are fun and that keep us young folks and busy and out of trouble. More than just recovery, we need prevention through engagement and cultural or appropriate organizations. I am a Oromo. My Oromo community is underserved. I am thankful for the investments that I received, and I hope that we can give that back to the youth. Be a champion for them. Thank you guys so much.
Mustafa, and then after that is Hawo Abdi.
Good afternoon. My name is Mustafa Khairi, and I serve as a youth coordinator at Ummatul Islam Center located in Minneapolis. And I also proudly represent the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah as a core organizer. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak today. The enthusiasm and potential I see daily in the youth are boundless, but too often their ambitions are restricted by inadequate access to our community facilities or parks that they can go to. Extending the operational hours for parks, especially in the summer, could greatly enhance our youth's access to valuable workshops and tutoring sessions, accommodating a broader range of interests and educational needs. Such a step would not only support their personal and academic growth, but also strengthen our community's future. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Hawo here?
Good evening. My name is Hawo. I'm a mother of 4 wonderful children, and I'm a proud member of the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. I live in Cedar Riverside neighborhood. Thank you for allowing us to voice our concern today. The challenge many of us parents face is not less program, but also lack of the communication about what is available. For example, through talking to the others in this campaign or going in research visit, I learned there is a lot available, but many parents don't know about it. They don't speak English fluently, and they don't know how to access online. They only hear about it through word of mouth. And I get to know this because I was involved in this campaign that started this year. We need a system that actively informs and engages parents to maximize participation and benefit. I know you guys are working hard, but there's a gap. We need to close this gap. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't thank you all enough. I really appreciate your voices, and with that, I am going to then close our open time, and we really appreciate you all coming here. So I am going to then now turn to Superintendent Bangor for reports of officers.
Thank you, President Forney, Commissioners. I appreciate the time. Talk about the great work that we do on our community. And just for some grounding, these are reflective of our strategic directions, and we kind of talk about each one of those 5 that the board has put forward for us to follow. So again, I will walk through these. So the first one is strategic direction A, act boldly for our climate future. This is tree planting has begun in the city of Minneapolis. The planting of 9,600 trees is well underway, thanks to the hard work of our forestry crews. Young trees are purchased from commercial nurseries that are close as Hennepin County and as far away as Buffalo, New York. Almost all trees are bare root because they are easier to handle, cost less, and have a more intact root system. In addition to planting the boulevards in our parks, some trees will be planted at the Eloise Butler Wildflower Garden and at horticultural gardens. By the end of April, over 4,000 trees have been planted and mulched. Great work by our crews out there. And again, Bohemian Flats, if you have a chance to go by it, if you haven't seen it, it's just a wonderful staging place. It's an amazing place to look at all the work that we do and the trees that we're planting. So please take a look at that. Strategic direction B, cultivate each community's place and honor cultural traditions in Minneapolis parks. Volunteer survey. We are proud to announce another successful Earth Day and are grateful to all the volunteers. We paired the launch with volunteerism visioning survey with Earth Day cleanup. Survey is open until June 14th, and we encourage current and prospective volunteers to complete it. The QR code will take you to the survey, or visit, of course, www.minneapolisparks.org. Results will help us craft a vision for volunteerism for the Minneapolis Park System. Strategic direction C, implement quality youth and intergenerational programs. Summer recreation programming. There will be a great deal of programming happening around the system this summer, highlighted just a few. Big Community Sing-Along at Podhorn Park will take place on July 14th. There used to be a tradition in Minneapolis parks of coming together for a simple joy of singing. This tradition is going to be revived with local song leaders leading in intergenerational community singing. Leaders will teach original, harmony-rich songs that invite people to connect. All voices are welcome and needed. No need to read music or think of yourself as a singer. We will sing of joy and connection, not performance or perfection. Sounds like me. Take a Kid Fishing Day will be on Saturday, June 8th. Take a Kid Fishing Day is recognized by the Minnesota DNR and takes place throughout the state of Minnesota. Adults do not need a fishing license when taking youth out fishing. The MPRB has 4 dock locations, including Benay-McCoska, Harriet, North Nokomis, and Worth Lakes. Equipment and bait will be provided, as well as helpful dock guides from local fishing groups. Neighborhood day camps in English and Spanish will be back this summer. Camps are geared for ages 5 through 16. There will be 43 camps and 18 recreation centers through the system. Spark Studios is also has some great camps taking place this summer, to including filmmaking, music production, robotics camps, and pride design making workshops, just to name a few. So please, if you don't have an opportunity, please sign up. There's great activities happening this summer in our park system. Strategic direction D, care for park assets to meet evolving needs and practices. Weber Pool readiness and AFO certification. Spring in the NSA is focused on preparing for the upcoming peak usage season. The pool liner at Weber NSP is being cleaned and de-winterized. Hosted at North Commons Park this year, staff from across operations are required to keep a valid aquatic facility operator certification that is renewable every 5 years. We do a lot of work preparing for the season. This is one of really many great things that we do. Weber Pool is complex, but it's such a wonderful asset, and they do a lot of work to keep that place operational and running. So thank you to our team that does the work there every year. Strategic direction E, steward our natural resources. Environmental volunteer spring updates. One-time service projects. 51 corporate and community groups have scheduled projects so far this season. For comparison purposes, in 2023, we hosted 120 groups total. Park stewardship teams. We're still in the renewal phase of our 2023 agreement. So far, 93 agreements have been renewed, and 7 new teams have joined the program. Save the date for May 15th, Volunteer Appreciation Open House at Lindale Park Gardens, 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. All environmental volunteers and their friends and family are welcome. Thank you, President Forney and Commissioners, for your time, and we're open for any questions, so thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions to the superintendent? Not seeing any lights, then I'm going to start with petitions and communications, and Commissioner Schaefer, if you mind.
Did I miss admin finance?
It happens next.
We're in
We
full
already
board
did
still.
admin finance committee. We moved that one. Isn't there one more resolution after planning to move forward? No.
I thought we did everything.
Oh, we did it. Okay.
It was past our last
Sorry.
meeting, I believe, the item in question.
Oh, I see, sorry.
I guess I'll just talk a little bit about budget. We've had two budget sessions, and I guess I'd like to just share a little perspective. I remember when I first was elected, President Forney pulling me aside and telling me, you know, there's two things that commissioners have really available. Important roles, and that is hiring the superintendent and overseeing the budget. And as this board, we have been very supportive and continue to support the wins that we have had in youth programming that the previous board was able to secure, and I look forward to supporting those in the years ahead. At the same time, we've had very little wiggle room to initiate new levy ideas that support additional board directions or emphasis, not just small line item amendments that we debate in October. As we look to the next 2 years of being in our team's budget cycle, several of our strategic directions are being downsized. I know volunteering is, and I can't remember, we went through the slides so quickly, I don't remember what the other two were. Some of you may know. But I would encourage us to continue thinking. I support much of the increases that were presented to us, but we went very quickly at the end of that meeting, and I would like us to consider going over those again or getting that information in more detail so that we can discuss it further. I know these are tight times, and I'm respectful of all the hard work that everyone has put into these initial directions. But I want us to do our job as elected commissioners in leading the budget process. And maybe these ideas that I'm proposing are not right for now, but I think we need to start thinking about how we lead. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Menz.
Yes, I just wanted to briefly comment on those of you who have remained. I feel like this board is a place where people can share and they can express themselves. And I'm hoping that we heard what Phelps was saying tonight and the Boys and Girls Club, because it's been something that I've heard for a decade. And my first interaction with that park was on Bottineau baseball field. And they came with a team, and the coach came to my dugout. I told somebody this the other day. Was in the home dugout. And I'm going to share a little story here. So I walked onto Bottineau Field with my 10U baseball team, and another coach was in my home dugout, the Bottineau Badger home dugout. And if you know baseball or youth sports, we went there, we started to play a game. And it was a championship game because the park board had organized a nice tournament. Some old park directors would organize a Northeast tournament. So I immediately did not like the other coach and the other team. I was very upset. And, they had players that looked bigger than my players, but they really weren't. And we played the game. And it became probably one of the most meaningful events of my son's life, my life as a coach, and experiences in Minneapolis Park Board that motivated me to run for office and be in this seat right now. So because over time, I've learned and I've understood what Phelps Park and what the people who work for the Boys and Girls Club do for young people. And it's very different than what I would do for young people because I don't understand the community as well as they do. And I think that for my commissioner colleagues and for the community, I want the community to know, and I think that they do know, that this is strong advocacy for youth. We saw 4 different organizations here today, and not demanding anything from us, but for partnership. And that partnership is something that we need to lean into quicker, because there is desperation in certain areas, and I cannot serve the Somali youth of my community as well as folks who are in that community ready to serve it. And we need to use our centers. We can open our centers more. We can have lease agreements for certain hours of the day, that we don't staff, that's free, or an hour. We have that capacity to open up our buildings and to have more partnership with groups like the Boys and Girls Club or numerous other organizations that serve youth in our city and in our country too, and sometimes national organizations like the Boys and Girls Club. So I was really taken aback by how much support came for you all. That was really powerful. And to hear the other groups coming, it's changed me personally in this seat, that there is a charge for us to change how we deliver services and how we partner with organizations who support our youth. And I hope that we can do that, and I hope that I can be a leader that helps ensure that process works with community, and I hope that my fellow commissioners are on that journey with me over the next few years.
Commissioner Thompson?
Pass.
Okay, Commissioner Musich?
I'm going to pass.
Okay, Commissioner Rucker?
Yeah, I just want to, talk on Phelps and Boys and Girls Club. I grew up through the Boys and Girls Club. Mr. Hardeman right there. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. We didn't really have a building. We just had, was it a fourplex, eightplex on 38th and Fifth Avenue. And all we had was pool tables and all that, but what really matters was that we had Mr. Hardeman as the lead of that building. And there's so many kids, young men, young women that have benefited from the Boys and Girls Club. I looked at all the babies that was here, that was me. That was me. I started there. I came from a single parent household, and pretty much I had to just be home before the street light came on. I was at the Boys Club and Girls Club. So I just want to commend you guys for what you guys have been doing, and hopefully continue to do in the building. Thank you.
Commissioner Olson?
Pass.
Commissioner Alper?
Pass.
Oh, Vice President Abene?
Pass.
Okay. I actually wanted to ask Council Rice to just give his guidance on the use per our policies on petitions and communication. I just feel it might be something to remind us all of, what its use is, and if you would share, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, President Forney, and just for the board, this is a bit of a unique feature of the board agenda, petitions and communications. And it's evolved over time, frequently before email and electronic communications when there was just mail. Commissioners would sometimes use this period of time to bring to the attention of the other commissioners either communications they'd received from constituents, or they thought an important topic that the body as a whole should know that maybe they hadn't heard of. Or they'd also use this on occasion. The petitions and communication function was actually before the board had open time. Petitions and communication has historically been part of the board longer than I've been around, which is 42 years now. And so the open time is a more recent addition to our agenda, although it's been in place for over a decade now. And so it's evolved a little bit. It used to be open time was kind of, or petitions and communication was the earlier version of open time. And then open time comes in, and so if the board, that's the opportunity for the community to tell the board what they were thinking. The old petitions and communication was a way for the board to say, well, I heard this in my neighborhood, I heard that. We don't have a definitive rule on it, and it's kind of if the spirit urges someone, commissioner, to speak, they speak, and that's kind of been their right to do so. But it has evolved, I guess, President Forney, and there isn't a specific definition. It's more been a custom and usage. Largely, I remember Commissioner Young, our longest-serving commissioner, would use it frequently to put things in the record, like letters, communications, things like that. That's changed a bit now, so I don't know if that helps, but that's kind of been the shape of it. And usually it comes at the end of the night, and so by then people have maybe looked at their watches and they're ready to move on.
Thank you, and it was just in conversation with staff that I know it was brought up in our retreat, that staff is using it very effectively. So always, in our packets, we do have significant communications that's coming regarding our community engagement, permits, all these different things. And so how we use it, I think, effectively, I think is very important. And I just thought we'd look into it. So I will share that I was at the mayor's State of the City today with, four other commissioners. And what was a delight to me is that our poet laureate at the city started out with a poem, and it was all about parks. And after talking to her, she said that she was inspired when she was at Painter Park. So anyway, it was very special to me that it really is what defines the quality of life in this city. So anyway, very delighted. And also, speaking of, I had the pleasure a year ago to go, I think it was maybe over a year ago, to Mexico for a conference and built a relationship. And there's now then a delegation that is coming to Minneapolis on Friday from Mexico. So I'm quite delighted that we can continue that. On that, I also want to acknowledge that on Friday, we have another birthday of our Commissioner Olson. So it may be a good one. And on that, I will adjourn our meeting.
The time being 6:31. I will call the Administration and Finance Committee to order. Can the Secretary please call the roll?
Commissioner Musich.
Present.
Commissioner Olson.
Here.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Here.
Co-Chair Rucker.
Here.
Co-Chair Thompson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Would someone like to move our agenda?
I'll move the agenda.
Thank you. All those in favor of the agenda? I don't see any lights, so all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Would someone like to move our minutes?
I'll move our Administration and Finance Committee meeting minutes of April 3rd, 2024 and April 24th, 2024 as a slate.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on the minutes? Seeing no lights, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have some minutes in the record. Would someone like to move our first action item?
I'll move resolution 2024-92. Resolution approving Third Amendment to lease agreement with Boys and Girls Club of the Twin Cities leasing the Phelps Field Park Center building at 701 East 39th Street, extending the term of the lease agreement through December 31st, 2029, and modifying other terms of the lease agreement.
Now, I know obviously many people have shown up to speak at our open time for this and advocate for it, and I appreciate you being here tonight. There are things that commissioners got literally like moments before the meeting started. So given that we haven't had a chance to really go over the complexities that were put before us, I'm going to move to postpone this to May 22nd meeting. Commissioner Musich.
Thank you for that, Chair Thompson. I appreciate that you've made that motion to postpone. I would be interested in seeing in our packet on the May 22nd date the actual lease amendment that's being proposed. What we were given just before the meeting is like a high-level outline. So I would hope that what we get on the 22nd is an actual lease amendment with language including information about how we intend to actually execute the items being proposed. We did hear from some people this evening, and I have been hearing from members of community throughout the week about the need for the park board to have more of a presence in this park to ensure that there is continual access to the building, that we are able to provide programming beyond just to children, because the community is very diverse, both in age and its racial makeup, and people would like to see programming that really serves the needs of community that isn't being served by the Boys and Girls Club. So I do appreciate that we've been told there is some movement in that regard, and I would just ask that rather than us getting something at the last second, that in our board packet, we be given actual language around the lease amendment so that we can be prepared when we come to our next meeting to vote on this.
Would anyone else like to speak toward the motion to postpone? Seeing no lights, all those in favor of postponing Resolution 2024-92 to our meeting of May 22nd, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. On to our next resolution. Would anyone like to move the next one?
I'll move Resolution 2024-96. This is a resolution amending the 2024 Capital Improvement Program for multiple regional parks and trails in order to simplify and streamline the grant execution process with the Metropolitan Council without modifying overall funding amounts nor timelines.
Any questions or comments on this? Would anyone like a presentation?
Yes,
Commissioner
I would like a
Schaefer.
presentation.
If there is a presentation, I would like one as well.
Absolutely. We've got two for a presentation. It's practically quorum. Director Arvidsson, thank you.
Chair Thompson, Commissioners, I have no formal presentation. This is, to be honest, a little bit of housekeeping. When we are allocated funding through the Metropolitan Council from various state sources, each project that is approved in the CIP needs to have a grant that is written for it. Some of the funding rules on different funding sources have been clarified over time, most notably the fact that bond funds cannot be used for community engagement, which is a hallmark of what we do with these projects, nor can it be used for staff time, like Parks and Trails funding can. And so what we've been working out with Metropolitan Council is to actually create each year a single grant that would hold all of the community engagement and staff time for all of our Met Council projects that year. And it would be a portion of that project amount. And then additional grants, a subsequent grant would be written for the capital portions of each of those projects. It's a little bit more complicated in terms of our administration, but it does allow us to recapture more of the funding for these projects from the state sources that are paying for them. In order to do that, there are some projects currently in the CIP that are exclusively bond funded, and which tonight I am asking you to shift some of that funding to the Parks and Trails source. So we're essentially moving some sources around. Each project in the CIP will retain its total project amount as approved last year, and also the same project year. So we're really just shifting some sources in order that we can create that single grant that will pay for community engagement and staff time.
Any questions? Yes, Commissioner Schaefer.
Can you describe the percentages? You mentioned that it was going to be about 6%. Can you describe the way you were doing it before to how that number compares to that?
Chair Thompson, Commissioner Schaefer, we generally use a number of about 6% of a capital project's allocation, which goes toward administration costs, which for us includes the staff's commitment to community engagement. So that's one of several soft costs in each project. There may also be a survey or geotechnical exploration or even the hiring of a design consultant. All of those costs are eligible under any of the funding sources that we have. The only costs that are not eligible under bond funding would be the community engagement itself and the staff time. So we're using that 6% that we normally use for a project. And so for each of those state-funded capital projects in the CIP. We're putting 6% into that special grant. And then the other thing that this accomplishes is that when we initiate a project, we typically do participatory project scoping. So if we're going to do an implementation project at Shingle Creek Regional Trail, which we are about to initiate, we don't actually know right now exactly what we're going to do. We go talk to the community about that. We say, here's the funding level, here's the master plan, what should we implement now? The Metropolitan Council, when it's writing its grants with us, does not like that. They want to know exactly what the elements are going to be. So what this allows us to do is do that community engagement, and at which point we would bring essentially a concept plan to you, which approves the scope. We would then be able to write a Met Council grant that's more specific, which would then unlock the rest of that project's money. So the 6% comes from kind of our standard practices in terms of what it takes for us in terms of staff time and community engagement. And that would all be bundled into one grant, but they would remain separate projects with separate project managers. They'd just be drawing on that one grant until which time they're ready to move into actual construction, basically.
So that 6%, you still have additional costs that might be surveys, or is that including the additional consultant fees that you might have? That's strictly community engagement.
Chair Thompson, Commissioner Schaefer, I hope I understand the question correctly. Within the 6%, it would be the total project staff time to administer that project all the way through construction. And a part of that staff time is dedicated to community engagement. So a significant portion of that is dedicated to the community engagement. When we hire a consultant to create a plan set, that would not be inside that 6%, because that is an eligible cost under both bonds and parks and trails, unlike community engagement expenses.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing no other lights, let's take this for a vote. All in favor of Resolution 2024-96, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Would someone like to move our next resolution?
I'll move Resolution 2024-97. This is a resolution approving an agreement with Green Cities Accord to collaborate on tree planting project, the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board Planting Project 2023.
Excellent. Would anyone?
I believe we have our partners in the
Yeah.
audience, and I think we did get a handout, but I think it would be helpful if we could get a brief update on the ongoing success of our current sales, et cetera. So Assistant Superintendent Barrick is approaching the dais.
Good evening, Chair Thompson, Commissioner Musich, and Commissioners. Yes, our friends from the Green Cities Accord are here, David Wilson and Michaela New. I did share with you earlier today via email, and I think a printed out copy at the dais as well, of kind of a quick summary snapshot, but then there is a brief, there's a brief couple of slides that summarize this is our third project. So third year in a row we've come before you with the previous year's tree plantings as a project to be registered with the city forest credits and the carbon registry, and there it is. And so I can, do you want me to do it? It's up to you. Okay, I will turn it over to David and Michaela after I found this. I don't know how to make it go.
Full screen.
Full screen. I can do this. Okay.
Maybe.
If only I was a few years younger.
You know what? We're just gonna go like this.
Yes.
There you go.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to share more about Carbon Offset Project 3 and the status of sales for carbon offset project 1 and 2. We are before you today as Green Cities Accord. That has changed since our last time in front of you. We have updated our name, refined our mission to focus on the urban tree canopy, and you will see digital marketing updates soon with a new website and more. And with that, our mission has refined, as stated, to focus specifically on increasing and identifying investments in the tree canopy infrastructure, and the urban tree carbon offset program is one way we have found to do that, and we've been successful so far. For project number 3 specifically, we're looking at all trees planted in 2023. That's nearly 7,000 trees. And using the quantification tool provided by the registry, city forest credits, total credits attributed to the project is nearly 18,500. Similar to the last 2 projects, we're considering a mortality rate and a buffer pool, and less those percentages, total amount of credits to be issued to the project operator over time is that 14,000 credits. And the first issuance that we're expecting, if project approved, would be later this fall. We would see an issuance of 1,400 credits. The registry also quantifies ecosystem services in resource units and value. And taking a look at the trees registered in this project, the project will provide over $500,000 in ecosystem services once these trees reach 25 years of age. And then taking a look at the sales of these carbon offsets, the 5 different credit issuances, and some increase in value over time, we are projecting an estimated gross revenue for this particular project at $847,500 gross revenue, less an admin fee by Cities Accord, less an admin fee with city forest credits. About 80% of those proceeds would be returned to the park board for continued tree planting and maintenance. I will turn it over to my colleague David Wilson to give an update on carbon offsets projects 1 and 2.
Very good. Is this the last slide?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners. So to date, we have sold 3,872 offsets, and proceeds that have been paid to the MPRB are $103,892. We have 2,800 unsold offsets. What we don't provide in this slide, but it might have been in Jeremy Barrick's email to all of you, is we do have approximately 25,000 offsets that are committed. And those committed offsets are offsets where we have multi-year contractual agreements with organizations to purchase carbon offsets. So we have 4 organizations that have signed, 3 of them have signed 5-year agreements, and 1 of them has signed a 3-year agreement. And every year after they complete an analysis of their carbon emissions, they will then do a purchase of carbon offsets. So between the currently sold and the committed, we are projecting about 25,000 offsets that are committed or sold. So as we progress in this program, the proceeds from those carbon offsets will start increasing this year and next.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Musich, see you reaching for your light, please.
Thank you, Chair Thompson. So if I recall correctly, once we hit 5 years out from the initial project, we release another tranche of credits, that's correct? Okay, so once we get to that 5-year period, we should start seeing every year additional credits become available for purchase by the folks that you have commitments from. Of the 25,000 offsets that are committed, how many are eligible to purchase the 2,803 credits that we have available currently? None? Is it next year? that we have to wait till they can purchase them?
When do we expect the 2,800 to be sold? Is that the question, Commissioner?
Yeah, I'm wondering when the ones we have left at the moment will be eligible for the committed credits that you've got with local, I think they're utility companies at this point.
Yeah, well, for example, Winslow Capital, which has a 3-year agreement with us, is completing with their environmental consultants their emissions analysis. So, for example, they could end up purchasing those carbon offsets within the next month or two. It really, we don't know when they complete their analysis to do, but this would be for last year for them, because they have to wait until the end of the calendar year. So we have multiple potential sales this year. We have just completed a proposal. One of our prior year purchasers asked about pricing for a bulk purchase of our carbon offsets. This would be their second purchase. They like the quality of these offsets, and so we provided them with a proposal where they could buy a bulk of between 3,000 and 6,000 offsets. So we would actually be oversubscribed, and they would have to wait until additional offsets were released by the registry.
Okay, great. Thank you for that additional information. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Shaver.
I was curious how MPRB compares to some of your other partners as far as the number of carbon credits that you're selling, and where we kind of stack up. I know you're really expanding your footprint, so I'm curious how MPRB stacks up with your current clientele.
The MPRB is by far the largest partner for us. Hennepin County is in their first year partnership with us. They are planting far fewer trees than the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. We are exploring with a third-party government entity, Hennepin County actually being able to plant on that third-party entity's land in order for them to start increasing the trees that they're planting across the metro area. But today, the MPRB is our largest partner. This week, we do expect to get final approval for a new partner that we haven't announced yet that will be in a similar size as the MPRB in tree planting.
Okay, thank you.
Very cool. Commissioner Olson.
Hi, yeah, these would probably be questions for Jeremy. So I saw, the total number expected by the end of the life time of this is like 6,000 some trees. How much about would 103,000 plant? How many trees about roughly is that? Quick
Chair
math.
Thompson, Commissioner Olson. So I think we use the number $150 per tree.
Okay.
So a little less than 1,000 trees this would be able to purchase. The funding is, it goes into an urban forest fund here at the Park Board, and it is qualified for trees and maintenance. So right now we've been building that fund, but yeah, it would be to purchase a tree, we'd use the estimate of 150, and that's based on species size. It kind of varies, and we put the planting bid out for contract, or the tree source bid out for contract. So 150.
And so I was trying to do research on some of the partners that we've sold offsets to so far, and I was looking at Winslow Capital, investment firm. It seems like couldn't exactly see what they invest in. Do we have a snapshot of their portfolio? I would hate to be supporting a group that invests in like Exxon or war profiteers, things of that nature. Is there any assurance that they aren't doing those sorts of things?
Commissioner, they don't actually invest. They're advisors to others that invest.
Do we know if they advise folks to invest in fossil fuel companies?
I think you would have to go to their public website to see how they advise. What I will tell you is that the reason why they wanted to support this project in the Park Board is because they realized that they were advising their clients that they should be investing in companies that were addressing their carbon emissions. And so they decided that they needed to do that themselves. So they actually took some actions to start reducing their carbon emissions. And for their remaining emissions, they decided to start purchasing carbon offsets.
The timer's still
Okay.
going for Tom.
Yeah, who knows where I was at. So, okay, I did look at their website, and it's very vague, and I really couldn't tell. And so, another thing I saw, Commissioner Barrick, I don't know your title, Assistant Superintendent Barrick. You said one of the next upcoming partnerships is CenterPoint Energy. Let me read something that I'm doing some research on CenterPoint Energy. CenterPoint Energy is one of the lowest scoring utilities when it comes to climate action. This utility has opposed climate-related policies and supported anti-climate measures in recent years. For example, in 2021, CenterPoint Energy and Southern Company both supported state anti-electrification bills preempting municipal gas bans. When we've had presentations from the city on one of the last major barriers to overcoming reducing our carbon and fighting climate, it's electrification, it's gas. And CenterPoint Energy is fighting every step of the way. I see it at the state level. XL is even a little iffy. They were, they're dragged kicking and screaming towards their renewable goals. And I'm just really concerned that CenterPoint is going to be able to utilize, hey, we're actually pretty climate friendly. We're buying carbon offsets from City of Minneapolis. We're planting trees. And then turn around and shoot down and actively work against legislation, and that will be one of the greatest opportunities to reduce carbon. And 6,000 trees compared to all the natural gas that is fracked and burned for the benefit of our cities, it doesn't equate. And so that's kind of a bit of an issue that I've had with this. I would feel more comfortable with this process. I know under at least our park board policies, planting more trees and having the funds for that is really critical. I really understand that. But if we're not ensuring that we're working with partners that aren't causing active climate harm and are creating it so that planting trees is a moot point, then I don't want to continue pursuing this. So I really don't want to work with CenterPoint Energy. I really want to make sure that these other groups are pursuing and not advising that folks invest in climate menaces. So that's my concern.
Thank you. Commissioner Musich, for a second time. Commissioner Upper's not on she's not on our, I'm just going to committee members at this point.
Okay. Amongst my ancestors, I have Puritans in my bloodline, and I am hopeful that we are in a place culturally that we understand that we exist in a capitalist structure that requires that we find ways to do things, including with people that we sometimes don't necessarily fully agree with their approach to doing business, to try to further things that we feel are important, like restoring our urban forest and expanding it. We do not have a ton of time in which to greatly expand our urban forest before we start seeing some very serious impacts of the ongoing devastation that our species is bringing onto our planet. I understand this program is not perfect. There is nothing here that we do that is. I would remind all of you that Commissioner Forney and I, President Forney and I, spent 4 or 5 years already trying to find other sources of funding for our urban forest. We were not successful in finding those. This is one that we did find that it appears to be working. it's going to fill a budget hole that we have this year for next year for planting. It likely will do the same in future years as well to help us achieve that 2-for-1 replacement ratio. So I understand that it does not necessarily align with everyone's values, but I would ask that you find a way to support something that is working, that is advancing the goals that we have around tree planting, while encouraging us to continue to try to do better. And anyone that has suggestions for other funding sources, I'm happy to hear them, but I have not heard any thus far.
You know, I will say, I was speaking with someone yesterday about, you know, about Minneapolis of yesteryear, and how you literally you could walk down the street in our neighborhoods, and it could be raining out and you wouldn't get wet because just the canopy was so huge. And I went for a run on the Victory Memorial Drive this afternoon and saw many of the trees that are just little, small, just been planted because we lost so many elm and ash, and it used to be that way on the drive for the 1.5 miles from the flagpole down to to North Memorial. It was just this gigantic canopy. And I would agree with Commissioner Musich, nothing is perfect. And, you know, even the companies that Commissioner Olson mentioned, I foolishly forgot to pay my XL bill, and as I'm doing my morning stuff, all of a sudden, phew, my lights go out, and I was like, dang. It was electricity appreciation morning for Commissioner Thompson before I got it figured out and turned back on. And you know, as much as we scourge them, they do provide a service, and until we can figure out a better way, in tight times, it's nice to see this money going to our tree canopy. So I have no objection to continuing to support this. I know Commissioner Alper wants to say something. I will allow you to speak, even though you're not on the committee. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Thompson, for allowing me to speak. Even though I'm not on this committee, I appreciate the collegiality. And I just would like to say to everybody, I think we all care about planting trees, and we all care about making this world a better place. I mean, I think that's why we all ran for park board. And so I feel that we all see what is happening around the world and want to do something, and I really appreciate that. But I do want to echo what Commissioner Olson said about CenterPoint Energy. I have, there's comments on CenterPoint's NGIA plan that recommend that CenterPoint's proposal to include offsets not be included. Those are some of the comments that were provided by environmental nonprofits on CenterPoint's plan to move forward with that. And I remain troubled because we haven't, city forestry credits has a financial stake in certifying for credits. Every credit that is issued means $4 of revenue for city forestry credits, in addition to an application fee of $1,500. So the more credits they certify, the more money that they get, and that's troubling to me. I mean, they're incentivized to say yes. And I believe that we do produce high-quality work with our forestry program in this city, and I would love to explore other avenues that don't basically give other places, other entities, and people a way to assuage their guilty conscience. I mean, and a license to pollute. I think we need to push these companies to do better and not offset their credits, because quite frankly, this is, I hesitate to say that we're really doing anything beyond like, what is our baseline? What is our business as usual scenario? And to me, you know, if we look back at the last 15 years of tree planting, in 2008, we planted 3,589 trees. So could you take the 9,600 trees that we planted last year and say that 2008 was our baseline, and then remove the 3,589 and use that as our quote-unquote additional trees that we planted. I mean, to me, that would feel better, but to say that we're certifying every single tree we planted last year as being a way that companies can offset their emissions, that somebody can attend a landscape architecture conference in Minneapolis, buy a credit, and feel good because they believe that the Minneapolis Park Board planted an additional tree. We didn't.
I believe that's President Forney's light, and I think we'll vote on this. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, although I'm not on this committee. As Commissioner Musich indicated, she and I worked on trying to access ways that we can continue, to me, one of our most exciting aspect of our park system, and that's our tree canopy. I was just going to comment to you that I had the pleasure of going to a program with Will Steger, and then I got to sit at the host table and sat next to him, and I brought this up. And initially there was some skepticism, but when I indicated to him how localized it was, there was a great deal of interest. So if you're looking for a voice, whatever, I think that he'd be a marvelous person to utilize. But I think this is a marvelous solution. I think Commissioner Musich nailed it. Not everything is perfect, but I believe what I love the most about this is it's really about the longevity of our trees. And that, to me, is what's exciting, and I feel it's our opportunity to educate people that that's what's important. You know, planting a tree, you know, whatever, that's a drop in the bucket. Letting it live for 25 years or more is, to me, really exciting and important for us to be able to be thinking about the future. So hoorah on the program, and thank you for your service.
Okay, let's vote on, what's the number now? Resolution 2024-97, correct? All
Correct.
those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
That motion carries. Final resolution of the night. Would someone like to move it for me?
I will move Resolution 2024-99. This is a resolution approving a project implementation agreement with Green Cities Accord and PRB Planting Project 2023.
Excellent. Any further questions or comments on this sibling resolution? Seeing no lights, all those in favor of Resolution 2024-99, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
That motion carries. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:06. 7:07. It was over already. Couldn't see him.